They call him a servant leader who fought for the oppressed and uplifted millions with his belief in justice and equality.
Jackson rose to national prominence working alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during the civil rights movement. Michael George takes a look back at his storied legacy this morning.
We are against racism.
Jesse Jackson said he dedicated both heart and soul to the fight for justice.
We must put a diploma in one hand, symbolizing knowledge and wisdom, and put a voter registration card in that other hand, symbolizing power and responsibility.
Born in 1941 in South Carolina, Jackson grew up under Jim Crow laws. By the time he'd graduated from college, he was involved in the civil rights movement. In 1965, he joined Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s inner circle, taking on a leadership role. He was with Dr. King in Memphis when he was assassinated a few years later.
High school graduation.
Ordained as a minister, Jackson began Operation Push in Chicago in 1971 and created his political pulpit, pressuring companies to hire more black workers and extend business ties with the African American community. In 1984, he founded the National Rainbow Coalition and launched his first presidential run. The campaign raised his profile, but anti-Jewish comments sparked a scandal that damaged his reputation. After losing a second presidential run in 1988, he kept his spot on the political stage.
We are a humane people. We fight for justice and fairness.
Jackson delivered rousing speeches at Democratic conventions.
Keep hope alive.
And he supported candidates, including his son, Jesse Jackson Jr., who was elected to the U.S. House. In the 1980s and 90s, he helped negotiate the release of American hostages held abroad. And in later years, he protested for victims of police violence, from Ferguson to Chicago to Baton Rouge.
Stop the violence. Save the nation.
In 2017, Jackson revealed he'd been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And while the disease may have slowed him down, he said it wouldn't stop him from his mission, instilling hope in the hopeless. Michael George, CBS News.
All right, we're also getting reaction to the news of Jesse Jackson's passing. Reverend Al Sharpton posted a short time ago on his Instagram about the need to carry on Jesse Jackson's legacy.
I met Reverend Jackson when I was 12 years old. He impacted millions, but he directly taught me. And I've got to make sure I live in a way that I show God that God and him wasn't wasting their time. Rest well, Reverend Jackson. You earn your rest.
You earn your rest. Reverend Sharpton plans to hold a press conference on Jackson's passing at 11 this morning. Now, we are also hearing from longtime television personality Al Roker. The NBC meteorologist posted on Instagram writing, quote, a civil rights leader, activist, author, presidential candidate, even host of SNL. He went on to call him a civil rights icon who was instrumental in legislation that changed this country for the better.
And Jesse Jackson was so much more. I mean, there's so many things you can say about Jesse Jackson. Right. He went to North Carolina A&T. He was a football player, a quarterback, a standout quarterback at North Carolina A&T. And that's where he started to get the roots of his political actions. Started to be he was already a great speaker, a great orator. And for me, you and I have talked about this, the speeches. We heard them talk about keep hope alive. That's 1988 at the Democratic National Convention when he ran for president. That was one of the last things he said before he left the stage. Keep hope alive, keep hope alive. And then our favorite, which was I Am Somebody.
I Am Somebody.
He did it on Sesame Street. He did it at the Los Angeles Coliseum right after Isaac Hayes and some other people had left the stage. It was a music concert. I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be uneducated, but I am somebody. I'm God's child. I must be respected and protected. For me, that speech speaks volumes. Every time I hear it, I get chills. And this is a guy who did so much, an activist, fighting for change, fighting for equality, fighting for economic equality, education. Jesse Jackson did so much in his lifetime.
And it speaks to, you're speaking to that identity piece, you know, who are you? I am somebody. Also coined the term, I remember this very well because I did my graduate thesis or project on it, African American. So he spoke to identity because, you know, who are you? You're just not black. What is that? Because many of us can't trace our roots all the way back to wherever that origin story is. He said African American, and it was controversial, of course, at the time, but now it is pretty much a given that that is what a race of people in America are called, African American. But that was Jesse Jackson, again, cementing identity and letting you know that, in fact, I am somebody.
And he spoke at your college graduation
and he was
in
my commencement speaker
while he was running for president.
Run, Jesse, run.
Run,
that
Jesse,
was the
run.
first slogan. And I won't give away too much of his personal stuff, but he was a devoted father to his sons. I happen to know one of his sons. He was always at his football games here in Washington. And so, yeah, just a well-rounded person. And as Reverend Sharpton said, you have earned your rest.
Right. I got a chance to meet him in Nashville, so he was tremendous. Great speaker,
he was
great
everywhere.
motivator. He was everywhere.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, with this breaking news, tributes are expected to pour in, and you can continue to stay with WUSA 9. I mean, like, who are we? These are people on like these national stages, right? All offering condolences and remembrances. So for updates anytime, you can download the WUSA 9 app.